Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never ending question: what makes people say, why not? Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. So today's topic, right, is kind of coming up from like talks I've had with clients and friends recently about different things, and like I think it's something that we all very easily forget a lot, and it's really, really important. And that is the topic of like checking in with yourself. So, like, this is like how you're feeling, like, and especially like if you're on maybe a diet, not that I like to use the word diet, but if you're trying to like change your eating habits or something, or your training, or even like if you're on some form of like personal growth, like one thing really clear is like you have to stay in tune with your body and your mind, or it's very, very easy to, for want of a better description, fall off the wagon or like become demotivated. So that's why I really wanted to check in with it today and kind of talk about it, because I think it's something a lot of us go through life on autopilot, and when you don't really check in with actually how you're feeling, or actually it can become, instead of seeing logic and seeing reasons as to why things might be happening, it can become about like blaming yourself and you're the problem and you're wrong and why would you do this. So that's kind of why I want to talk about it. So, like, like it's so funny because we put so much emphasis on discipline and willpower, right? Like we're always telling ourselves like, I need to do better, or I just need to push harder. And that's why I want to sorry, that's why I want to shift the focus a little. So like I was saying, we can make it about being us being the problem when there could be like a whole load of different things. um and sometimes one of the best things you can do to go forward is to go back a little bit. And even in this scenario, you don't have to go backwards per se. Like just taking a little pause to reflect on everything can make like a huge difference. It's something I've kind of learned through therapy when I'm having like those bad cycles of thoughts, or I do kind of try and go, okay, why am I feeling like this? And look, the logic sometimes helps, sometimes it doesn't, but it definitely won't if you don't do it. The key is awareness. Once you are aware, you can start to change those patterns, and it's so important. Um, Sorry, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's something I'm really passionate about at the moment, because I see it so often and I feel bad for people. And I'm not perfect, by the way, but it is something that's really, really helped me. And look, here's the thing: life happens, right? Sometimes you're energized, you're really motivated, and you could feel like you can take on the world. And in other days, you're just not. And like, that's okay. It's okay to feel like that. I think people, especially because, I don't know, I'll blame social media for this. That is that kind of hustle mentality. You should always keep going. But it is okay to have off days and take a step back and be kind to yourself, instead of beating yourself up for things you've not done. Think about what you're doing for yourself by taking that break. Um, Look, there's so many factors that can influence how you feel and how you're able to perform. So let's go into actually a few examples that I think are really big and people like never think about, okay? So the first one I want to talk about is lack of sleep, right? This is such a game changer, and so many of us are not sleeping enough. You know, I can hold my hands up to say that I am not always the best with my routine. I'm trying to be better. But again, it is not always possible. But like if you don't sleep well the night before something, it's going to affect how you feel, like how you think, and even how you eat, right? Your body might be craving extra calories or sugar because it's trying to compensate for the lack of rest. This is a really big thing. If you're really tired, often the thing you crave, sorry, words, um, is actually like carbohydrates, easy, quick sugar. Your body wants that quick energy. Obviously, caffeine helps as well in this scenario, but you know, it can make it very, very hard if you are on a certain calorie deficit, or if you're trying to train a little bit harder, if you feel exhausted, it's going to be like really, really hard to stick to that or push it to that next level. So sometimes you mightn't be able to. Um, so like if you are like finding it really hard to some days maybe to stick to where you're eating or stick to where your fitness or keep motivated and pushing towards those goals that you have, like maybe think about this, like how well did I sleep last night? If you're in a training session and you're struggling and you feel like you can't lift as normal, like do think about that. Like it's one of the first things and really one of the biggest reasons. And like again, this comes back to the awareness, like it can really help you make adjustments, like maybe that day, like this is 100% happened to me the other day. On Friday I was training, and the night before I'd gone to bed quite late because I had a late tag match. And I just knew from the start of that workout that I didn't have the energy to go to what I wanted to do. So instead of trying to force myself through it and feeling bad about myself or beating myself up for not being able to, I just did what I knew I could, pushed it to the level that I was still challenging myself but comfortable with it. And just being like, okay, that's fine. You didn't sleep last night. It is totally fine. It is not a big deal. It is not like life or death if you do things like this. And I think having that awareness and being able to say to myself, okay, you don't have the energy, you're going to go a little bit lighter, made it easier to do so. Like I always say this, done is better than not at all. So it doesn't matter if it's not like an amazing workout. Getting done is going to push you closer to your goal than skipping it altogether because you're a bit pissed off. Um, you know, don't punish yourself for not being perfect. You need to. Sometimes we have certain needs, certain recoveries, and if you do not allow your body to do that, you will go backwards and get more frustrated. So it's just really, really important to think about that. Okay. Now, another one that I want to talk about is like your hunger, your nutrition. Okay. Um, and there is a difference between hunger and cravings, but we're not going to dive into that. Um, One thing I would notice, sometimes people are low energy if they're trying to stick to a really quick diet because they want, or strict diet because they want really quick results. Um, it's going to make you feel like shit. um, you know, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be cranky, you're going to be tired, you're going to be emotional, your mood can dip, your mood will dip. Like, I'm sorry, like, we all know about hunger, but have you ever been like that little bit too emotional about stuff? It could well be that you're hungry. And, you know, the likelihood here of you making kind of impulsive decisions or going off the rails, again, for want of a better description, just goes up so much when you are hungry and you're not eating enough. Um, it is worth, as I said, if you are on some kind of plan, to be checking in with yourself, like, because how you're feeling is more important than looking a certain way if it's a aesthetic goal. I've nothing against aesthetic goals. There can, I think, everyone would be lying if they said there was no form of aesthetics that they want as part of their training. But it shouldn't be your main goal. So, and if you are getting a lot of irritability, a lot of feeling very lethargic, feeling very just like not able to focus, I think it's worth checking in with, are you actually eating enough, along with obviously the sleep, or is this too strict for you? Like, are you finding you're dropping into like binge restrict cycles, your perfect Monday to Friday, and you eat everything around you Saturday, Sunday, or you can't have something in the house because if you do it, you'll just destroy through it. Like, these are all things that we need to maybe look a little bit deeper on. Like, yes, it's very easy to just not have chocolate in the house if you can't be trusted with chocolate, but why? Why doesn't that happen ever with like apples? You don't see anyone like smashing through cucumbers unless you're my guinea pigs, or any form of for one of a better description, healthy food. And I think it's really important to think about that and realize that there's a reason for that. And again, this goes to, the principles like the five whys. You have to keep asking why until you get to the real reason, because you will dodge that question. It's easier to just say, oh, I've no willpower, or um, oh, I just can't have that, or, instead of actually thinking why, you know, why the reason could be is it's not enough calories, it's not enough protein. Um, why could be you have a bad association with this food, and because you are told you shouldn't have it, you want it more, because we all know that one. Um, you know, ask why. Don't just accept it as a thing. Really, really important. And again, that generates that awareness. And without the awareness, we cannot change it. So if we can generate that awareness, we can start to change things. Um, and also, as I said, like always check in. Are you actually eating enough? Because you need to fuel your body. If you are training, if you are living your general life, you mightn't even be training, but you need to be fueling your body properly. It's so important. And people will not do that a lot of the time. And it's just really sad to see people like that, because they're struggling and they're uncomfortable, and they just think it's what they need to do to be attain a certain weight, maybe, or a certain size, when you might actually do better on more food. Um, you know, let's start thinking about food as more nourishing our body. Food is not good and bad. Food, like, they have no moral compass, so you can't, like, I've never seen a chocolate bar rob a bank. Um, so try to, let's like unpick those things. Get a journal out, figure out why you feel that way. Again, I'm gonna blame the media for this, because fuck you and diet culture. But as I said, let's dig into it. And it's uncomfortable. And nobody wants to do it. And that's why we don't do it. But we need to do it in order to change our perception and help move forward, and probably actually get the results in this that you've always wanted, Um, give yourself grace to eat what your body needs. Like, I'm not saying this is an excuse to just only live on chocolate, because nobody's body only lives chocolate. But look at what you need and feel it. Taste the food when you're eating as well. That's another big thing. Now, this third one is more so for my ladies, because men don't have to deal with this. Of course they don't. But hormones and your cycle. Okay, I don't know how many people track their cycle. Some do, some don't. I kind of do, but I will use the apps to check in on stuff sometimes if I feel like shit. But basically, those of us who do have a menstrual cycle, our hormones can actually just be a massive, massive factor in how we feel. You know, we like, your hormonal shifts can actually impact your energy levels, your hunger cues, and your emotional state. Like, these all are connected. And during the different phases of your cycle, you might feel more tired, more emotional, and have a stronger appetite. And that's not making you, again, this doesn't make you a bad person. And this is nothing we can change either. Like, we know up until ovulation, like, your estrogen's rising, um, and you're gonna get like super energetic. This is the time when you feel like you can take on the world. But after ovulation, when you're on your way back down, like coming towards your period, it's very usual to feel more tired, more hungry, more irritable. We all know about PMS, and like when your period starts, it kind of almost ends that. Um, but yeah, like, if you're having those, I've seen those memes before, and it's like, you cried at like something silly, and you're like, get your period next day, and you're like, I'm not weak. Well, next time you are having these kind of things, like, try and check in where you are in your cycle. There's loads of apps you can get for free. And as I said, just knowing these things can really make you feel, I want to say, better about yourself, like, because you're no longer going, I'm the problem. It's just hormones and life. Um, you know, it could be completely, like, I know some people who do, work with women who are looking to lose body fat. They actually only are on a diet 2 weeks in a month, because the second 2 weeks you need more calories. Like, it's just, and it's better for them overall mentally. And yes, it slows down their progress, but I would rather take longer to get to a certain body goal than want to kill everyone most of the time and feeling like shit about myself at certain times in the month because I don't understand what's going on. Um, so just before you blame yourself for being off one day, just check in where you are. You more tired because your body is dealing with hormonal changes? Do you need more food or rest because your body is signaling that? Like, these are all things, right, that can affect it and do affect it. So I did kind of mention this at the start, but I did want to bring it back to the kind of key takeaway here is like, when you're struggling to stick to something, it's not about how good or bad you are as a person. And that's why when we don't check in with ourselves, it's very easy to fall into that trap and blame yourself as having no willpower, no, you're weak, you're blah, all the negative conversations we have. But what we need to really do is understand what your body and mind are going through at that moment. And recognizing those external factors like you went through there, sleep, like hunger and hormones, and these things can all make things harder, basically. But when we take the time to actually check in with ourselves, we can identify those reasons why today might be tougher than yesterday, or this week is rougher than last week. And then, like, when we know why, we can actually be more kind to ourselves and like adjust our plans accordingly instead of trying to like bang our head through the wall. um, you know, Today mightn't be the day to push yourself to the limit in the gym. It might be the day that you take a long walk or you just do a session where you do all the moves at a lighter weight, like I did recently. It could be not the day to strictly calorie count. You might need to just give yourself some good cozy meals and just feel better. And these don't knock you off your goals. You can still do this and be aligned with your goals. And the really, really big important thing is being flexible and like having compassion for yourself, because it's not about perfection. It's about listening to your body's needs and working with them, like not against them. Because you know, we all know from previous, there's only so far you can go against what you want to do. Um, and look, I'm going to give you a couple of practical tips here. You can use them if you want. You can, you know, you don't have to, but I really recommend them. Um, and how can we do this? Like, how can we do this self check in, right? So you can start your day with a check in. When you wake up, how do you feel today? Did I sleep well? Do I feel rested? Am I feeling stressed or anxious about anything? This little thing can just help you like gauge what kind of day you might have and how to approach it. Now, I'm going to put my hands up and say I do not do this when I start, because at I get up around 5:15 every morning. Okay, the answer to how I feel right now is always tired. Even if I've slept well, I rarely bounce out of bed, especially in the winter when it's dark. However, an hour or so in, I'm fine. I'm in great moods. I try to get out for a bit of sunlight and just check with the world, and then I can do it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be first thing in the morning. If you have that time where you do kind of ease yourself into the day, you absolutely can. But do it later in the day if you might feel like your day's not going great. Pick a time where you're like, now how do I feel? Now I know this kind of um another thing, like I said, like you don't have to do it start of the day. You can do it in the midday, or you can pause in the middle of the day. You know, if you excuse me, if you want, you can halfway through the day, like take a few minutes to go, how's my energy? Do I need a snack? Who doesn't need a snack? I love snacks. My friend calls them snacky snacks, and literally best name ever. Can you tell my friend as a child? But like this as well, like, is this now a good time to stretch and get some fresh air? Because like we do underestimate how much we need that. And doing that like can just break the autopilot. Like you can even set an alarm in your phone to like knock you out of the autopilot, and then you can make conscious decisions better than like instead of just reacting impulsively. And now, as I said, the midday pause can be in addition to your daily check-in, or it can be a completely separate. Like they can be, as in like, they can be the same thing. Really, there is no rules to this, and I think that's one of the best things about it. like there are so many ways you can do it, and none of them are wrong except for ignoring how you feel, which is the easiest route. And then like it's really important to like reflect on patterns. So if you check in with yourself regularly, you'll start to notice the patterns. Like, um, this could be in relation to your cycle, like you feel more tired at the start of your cycle, or sometimes you skip meals on work days, busy work days. Um, and again, this brings back to the awareness. When you know these kind of patterns, you can prepare for them, and you can change them. Like, you can change anything you're not aware of. So I know I've said this like several times, but again, this is something that you can actively change, and it's really exciting that you can do that. Like, I know it might sound like a feckin' job and a half, but it's really exciting when you think about it, because it gives you a chance to live a more enjoyable life, for want of a better description. Um, and like it helps you keep moving towards your goals. And the patterns might not be skipping meals or how you exercise or how you sleep. Like, it could be noticing little, maybe self sabotage patterns, like scrolling on social media for too long, or I honestly, like anything like that, when you need to do things, avoidance tactics. Um, and once again, you kind of know, oh God, every time something like that is coming up, I've started doing this instead. You can kind of go, well, maybe let's try not do that and see how you can move from there. The possibilities are endless. Um, so kind of that's pretty much mostly what I wanted to talk about. You know, I just want you to remember that, like, checking in with yourself, like, it's not about giving yourself excuses, right? But it's about giving yourself the understanding and tools to move forward with intention and kindness, okay? Because it is very, very easy to just be like, oh, I'm tired at one train. Oh, there's this, I won't do this. It's this. Like, it's kind of, there's a difference between that and going, okay, today I am tired, so I'm going to still train, but I'm not going to try and get a 1 rep max. Or today I'm going to change my plans because I know I don't have the physical feeling for it. I don't know. I don't have the strength for it at the moment, or I don't have the capacity for it. It's just knowing that and being able to adapt, as opposed to being like, right, that's it, tired, won't do it. Um, you know, um, like it's really, really easy to feel like you've fallen off track or you're not doing enough. But when you actually like sit down and pause, you don't have to sit down, you can do it standing, and ask yourself how you're actually feeling, you can actually make a complete shift from self criticism to self compassion and understanding, as I said. And then you kind of go, all right, yeah, this is actually better for me today. And that can be such a massive change for so many people, myself included. Like, in the long run, that's what actually keeps you consistent. Um, Remember, perfection doesn't exist. Like, really, it's all about listening to your body, making adjustments, and keeping going. Like I just said, you know, I really want to thank you all for joining me today. I hope that made sense, and I hope it gives you like a fresh perspective on how to approach your goals, whether it's training, nutrition, or just like life in general. Um, I found it really, really helpful over the last few months. As I said, I've kind of learned different therapy, and people know me now. I'm a massive therapy advocate after hiding it for years, and there was a lot of going through shitty stuff. And I still struggle with certain things, but at the moment, I do just kind of ask myself the questions and try and figure it out now. And it's really fun. It's horrible at first, but it's really fun, and sometimes it can literally like flip a switch and suddenly you change your mindset on everything. So like I think it's really, really helpful. I hope, as I said, you enjoyed. If you want to find me, as per usual, I am on Instagram and TikTok. My Instagram is at strong the saddle with an underscore. My TikTok is at strong the saddle without the underscore. And then my website is www.chrissyhawkins.com, where you can find out all about how you can work with me I have something new coming. I'm releasing probably at the end of November, so keep an eye out for that as well. And look, if you want to drop a message, let me know how you found the episode or leave a review. That would be really, really cool. But I will talk to you next time.
I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.